Hello YouTube, this is Loyal to Law once again, and this time in this video I'm going to talk about some of the warm-ups or cool-downs that you can do for your back whenever you're working out or whenever you're scheduled to do your martial arts training. Now, for a little bit about the back, the reason why you really need to stretch your back for warm-ups and cool-downs is because the back is one of the most sensitive parts of the body, and it's really injury prone, and a whole lot of people, especially athletes, especially the young athletes, really overlook any kind of stretches about the back because the back is too big and they really don't know any kind of stretch whatsoever, and yoga is lame. Any kind of stretching for the back really looks unmanly and stuff, and they would rather stretch some parts of the body that are really easy to stretch, like the legs, the midsection, shoulders, arms, that kind of stuff, and they neglect the back most of the time. And the result almost always is they almost always get this kind of chronic back pain. Some might last for a few weeks, few months, at times unfortunately ends up being a lifetime, and they take medications. And so as an athlete, you don't want to overlook, as an athlete overall, you don't want to overlook every single part of your body, because you don't want to injure yourself during performing, and you want to fully push yourself to your full potential when you're doing a certain kind of athletic performance, especially for martial arts. And so, that being said, without further ado, let's begin. Now, there are some things that you might need to do, or should I say need to have, in doing these kinds of back stretches. Yes, you may do them on the floor, or on the carpet, but this will be on kind of like just on the bending position, because you want to do these kinds of back exercises whenever you want to go, especially if you're on a suit, and or you're in a you're just in a hurry and you want to go in a special occasion and stuff, and your back tightens up, and so you need to do a certain kind of back stretch. You don't want to do it on the carpet or floor. So yeah, and these kinds of back stretches you can do with the chair, table, or a wall. And for chairs and tables, you may want them to be at the hip level. So at this level right here, hip height. And I really strongly recommend that if you're going to use a table or a chair, please don't use the rolling tables or chairs, the ones with the wheels, because it's a bit risky to use them, and you'll see why. So first up, like I said, you can either use a wall, a chair, or a table at hip level. And what you can do is place both of your hands on the chair, table, or wall, and then slowly walk yourself backwards. And this is the reason why you don't want chairs or tables with wheels. So you walk yourself backwards up until you feel the stretch. Say you feel the stretch of your lower back right here, and just hold that. Just hold that for at least 15 seconds, and then you either walk forward if you're already done, or you continue to walk further back. Now, the key point in doing this kind of back stretch is to have your back as straight as possible, but just as relaxed as possible as well. And for those of you who have watched some of my videos, you may remember one of the exercises that you can do before you do the hula hoop with the hips. So you know this move, and one of those moves is doing, as I demonstrated here, this. See, what I just did is I placed my hands, both of my hands on the side. So my index and my middle fingers on each hand are placed here, and my thumb is at the back. So what I did was I push my hip backwards with my 4 fingers, so 2 middles and 2 indexes. So I push them backwards, and then I use my thumb to help control or support my hip at the back. So what happens is, push myself here, see my hip automatically goes back, behind. And what happens is, my back also follows. See? My whole back also follows. So if I push my hip here, there. So that's the key. That will be your key position. And if you're going to do it as naturally as possible, or as naturally as you can, you will notice that you're going to naturally bend at a certain angle, and you can just continue to lower yourself down if you still haven't felt the stretch yet. And this kind of stretch stretches not only your back but also your hamstrings behind here. So it's a dual stretch. Same thing with the chair. Now, if some people, if they're going to really stretch their back, they would tend to really curl up. And that's a bad thing, because if you're going to stretch your back curling up, you're really not getting the full benefit of the stretch. What it just does is it strains the lower back as you stretch yourself out while curling, and it just tenses your shoulders a whole lot, and it's not really giving you the full purpose of it. So what you want to do is, instead of holding the chair, if your problem is the posture, or if you can't really get this kind of straight back stretch, you may do what I just showed about the hip. So you basically hold your hip first, then you push your hip backwards with your fingers, while your thumb is supporting the back part of your hip, so that you're not going to fully extend like that. So you're just going to give a slight push, then your body will naturally bow up until you're in a certain angle, and then that's the time you're going to hold the chair, and then walk yourself backwards up until you feel a stretch. Now in this position, you can hold it again for 15 seconds minimum, 30 seconds max, and then you can slowly walk forward. Be sure that when you walk forward, you're not going to curl up, because people tend to naturally curl up whenever they're going to walk forward, and again, you're stretching your back if you're going to do that. So maintain your back straight and relaxed as possible. Walk yourself forward. Then again, if you really can't stand yourself from that back stretch, you may then again, the same position with the hip. This time, if you push with your 2 fingers in the front, you can push your hip forwards with your thumb, and that will help you get back straight up. And so that's that. Then that's for doing the stretch right here and right here. Now, to fully stretch the upper part, you really need to do a full extension. Say if you stretch your back all the way up to here, so you're really feeling the stretch here as well as the hamstrings. What you really want to do is to really fully extend your upper back portion. So you really need to really go as far. And what you want to do is this also stretches the chest. So instead of just having your back straight, you might want to dip a little. So it's kind of like if I'm going to take my right hand off here, it's going kind of like this. So you want to put your head down a bit, lower than your arm length or arm level, and you really feel the stretch of the shoulders, the chest, as well as the upper back by doing so. If you can't maintain your legs straight, and if it's really straining your knees, you can also bend your knees a bit, just a bit. You don't want to really fully bend your knees, or you might hurt your knees. just bend your knees a bit up until you feel the stretch on the chest, upper back, and the shoulders. Hold it for at least 15-30 seconds. Then slowly straighten your legs up and slowly walk forward. Or, again, put your hands on your hip, slowly push your thumbs to your hip back up until you fully stand up. So, that's the second stretch. The third and final stretch would be stretching the hardest part of the back. And that'll be this side, right here. On what most of the people or personal trainers call lats. And so, as I'm going to fix myself here, what you're going to do is, as normal, you're going to stretch yourself, or I'm just going to do this. Sorry for that. What you're going to do is you're going to, again, with your chair, work yourself backwards up until you feel the stretch here on the lower back. And the different part is, instead of going down, so really bending your knees and going down, you're not going to stretch your upper back. What you want to stretch is this part. So instead of going down, you want to look on the side. So instead of just looking up here, you want to look down here. See? The difference is, if you look up here, you're straining your neck. But if you look down here, you're going to end up stretching the lats right here on the side, on the right side. So if you're going to tilt your head to the left, while doing so, bending your right knee a bit, you're going to stretch your right lat, or the right side of the back. And it really feels so good right now. You hold it for 15-30 seconds, then you slowly go back to the starting position, which is here. Then you're going to do it again on the other side. So you're going to face to the right this time. Make sure that you're going to really look under your arm, like this. You're not going to look over, you're going to look under. You're not going to really put your head way out here under your arm. You're just going to just tilt your head up until you really feel the stretch. So on the other side, you're going to do the same. So I'm going to do it once again without my arm here. There. And then you do the same on the other side. And then when you're done, just walk yourself again forward, or again, using your hands on your hips, push your hip forward with your thumbs up until you can safely stand straight back up. Okay, let me sit down. So, there you have it. Those are the back stretches that you can do for warm-ups or for cool-downs whenever you're going to do a certain workout or before you do your martial arts training. And always remember that whenever you're going to do anything, especially with the back, really make sure that you're really warmed up first, because backs are the worst kinds of injuries that anyone could have. Not just the hips, not just the knees and the elbows or any kind of joint, especially the neck, but also the back. Because think of a back this way: it's a main highway in a big city. And if a main highway is destroyed by, say, a certain natural calamity, then you can't really go anywhere else. You don't have any access to certain roads, because the highway is the key main way in order to get to a certain destination. Same thing with the back. And if your back is shut down, or you really have a chronic back injury, believe me, every single part of your body shuts down, and you really don't want that. So there you have it. Hope this video has helped you. even in the smallest way possible. Again, take care always. God bless you, and always train safe.